Hi, I'm Rokk. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to cook up some grits. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, but let's start with the grits. And first, I'm going to put my tabby boy down, and then I'm going to reposition the camera here. Oh, and yes, I still have my Christmas tree up. I don't know how much longer I'm going to give you a close-up look of probably the single ugliest Christmas tree I have ever had in my entire life. And I've had some little trees. I've had trees smaller than that. I've had, well, anyway, this is pretty ugly. But I'm going to move this to probably a series of places where I can give everybody a decent look at things. And I am filming this straight through, and I'm using the laptop since I noticed when I try to live stream with it, it seems to take a long time to turn over. So first thing I am going to do is, okay, you got a good view of, I only have the cornflakes out here because I was experimenting with something to mount the computer on. So I'm probably going to have to invest in some tripods, both for the tablet and for this. Even though I use boxes, I use my empty laundry cart if I'm filming outside and I have it. There's so many things. I usually mount, when I film with laptops, I usually film using them on top of trash cans and recycle things. That's my main way of filming with a laptop when I'm out in the field. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get the water going. This is probably one of my favorite pots to cook with in the house. It is a, I don't know if this is 1.5 or 2 quart. It's a Farberware. It's nice and sturdy. It's my workhorse. If you drop it, they're not going to shatter, and they're not going to burn up the way Corningware does. You know, you just soak them and scrub them, and you clean them. I kind of owe my mother a big apology here. She told me about 11 o'clock this morning that she was in the mood for grits for breakfast. And I normally, some places, sometimes and during the weekdays, I go out and grab lunch, but the place was closed today. So I said, oh, grits, that would be something easy to have for my cooking day. And of course, if I'm going to cook, that means I'm going to put my makeup on, I'm going to get dressed, and I'm going to straighten up around the house. And so needless to say, what was supposed to be lunch is getting close to dinner. Ooh, water's running. And I'm throwing in about, oh, a little over half the pot of, and I've got the clip-on webcam that's attached to this that I really like a lot once I get used to the fact that it's a much wider angle, which is much more flattering anyway. Well, it's a challenge too because it shows more surface, which means you have to prepare, you know, do more cleaning and stuff. I can't do anything until the water is gone to a boil. That said, the first thing I'm going to do is I went and I got some dry herbs from the garden and I set them down someplace, maybe even underneath this very computer. Damn it. This is the grits. I have 3 different kinds of grits packages. I'm using this. It says cans of corn, enriched white corn grits. Grits can be all different kinds of colors. I usually get them either white or yellow, or white with different speckles on them because grits are made of corn, and corn can be lots of different colors. So, okay, I don't know why I can't find. I had a fresh sprig of rosemary. Well, the water is getting ready to boil, and that's going to take a bit. So, let me get another sprig of rosemary. Okay, this has been drying in the back room. This is from my last trip into that garden, the community garden plot. And usually when I cook with rosemary, I prefer to stick it in the coffee grinder and grind it to like a powder. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold it and strip the stick of its needles, and I'm just going to, they're nice and dry. I'm going to crumble them in my hands. I'd like you to see what I'm actually doing here. I'm going to crumble them in my hands until my fingers start to hurt a little bit, and then that's my clue to dump them in the water. And ideally, as the water boils, the water will turn a little bit of a golden color, almost like an herbal tea, and that will let you know that you're flavoring the water. And I'm also going to throw in some salt. One thing, you really need salt to bring out the flavor of grits. I'm convinced of that. And this is not even, oh, that wasn't even half a teaspoon. Grits, cooking with grits, I notice is kind of like cooking with rice. I don't, except when I cook rice, I don't salt my water anymore. I used to in the beginning, but I noticed that no matter how much water I put in the rice cooking water, I always had to add a lot of salt or soy sauce or something afterwards. But with grits, I noticed some foods, even if you're cooking for people who have a low sodium diet, you need to add at least a little bit of salt during the cooking process to infuse certain foods with salt. But at the end, you almost always have to add a good deal of salt before you actually eat it. And that's frustrating because nobody wants to add too much sodium. I mean, you don't want to cook things that are unhealthy. Even if you haven't had a doctor tell you to cut down on your sodium, you don't want your blood pressure higher. You don't want to get bloating around your ankles or get puffy or anything. Too much salt, they say, is not good for you. It's a shame it makes food taste so good. I mean, if I ever had to give up salt, I would be extremely upset. I am going to add a little bit of black pepper to this water. Uh, and, oh, look who's here. You know what? I can put this down a little bit. You see somebody? Look who's here. Oh, yeah, you're gonna run away. You're not gonna run away. This is my Cassie. You know, a great thing about having a deaf cat is that you can sneak up on her. Or when you catch her someplace where she's not supposed to be, like drinking out of the kitchen sink, she'll like to, I'll catch her up there and I'll sneak behind her, and all of a sudden I'll pick her up and she'll go, airborne. And then she goes airborne. Yes, she does. Boy, they're something else. Okay, I see the water is boiling kind of furious here. When you're cooking with rice, you always want to make sure you have a spatter screen. Cooking with grits. Always, always, always. Now I'm going to check for the water level here on this. And I like to use a nice long spoon. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit more water to this. Of course, this will mean it'll take time for the water to go back up to boiling. But, alright. So you got spatter screen you always want to have here. I have my grits. This is also a good stage to add any other ingredients you might want to add to it. You can add leftover vegetables. Like here I have a cornmeal container of green beans, just canned green beans. I really love to cook with broccoli and grits, but I think it's better to cook the broccoli separate and then add it to it when the grits are done, because otherwise the broccoli water, as good as it is, it might sweeten it up too much and you might end up having to use too much salt. I like to do with the broccoli water, since it's so full of vitamins, I like to just pour it off the broccoli and drink it with a little bit of salt. It's so good for you. Now, some people prefer to do that if their broccoli's organic, but with any fruits and vegetables, if you wash them well, you shouldn't have a problem with that. I'm looking for other things that I can throw into here. Let's see. Okay, this is last of a can of pork. If you ever get pork from a company called Lakeside, oh my God, I can't stress enough how wonderful they are. Their packing company, Lakeside Foods, is out of Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and it's fully cooked pork and its juices, and it tastes fantastic. They also have beef, but the pork is way better. And you can put it over rice, you can add it to grits, you could do so many things with it. It's just fantastic. Um, I'm going to add a little bit of cumin to this. This is the very finely ground cumin here. Oh. And this has really big holes in it, so a lot comes out. And with cumin, I know just a little goes a long way. I'm going to add a little bit of thyme here. I buy my thyme at the 99-cent store, but I also pick it from gardens. And it's another thing that, like rosemary, you can also grind up. That way it won't get stuck in your teeth. That's the one thing I really don't like about dried thyme, is that you're picking these pine needles, kind of, and they're not long things, so they're harder to pick out. You know, at least rosemary, it's got bigger needles, so it's easier to get out. Stir this. I want to try to get this camera closer so you can see what I'm doing here. And also make sure that I don't pull the cord out. If nothing else, so that you don't hear that squeal that happens whenever the cord gets pulled out of here. Let me see how close I can get this to. Oops. Okay, yeah, I don't want